And welcome to our Navigating Auto Buying workshop today. We're excited to be able to talk to you about this topic. My name is Dawn Watson. I am a Partner Experience Manager with GreenPath Financial Wellness. GreenPath is a financial counseling and education resource. We partner with Genisys Credit Union, and we were excited that they invited us to help host this. And we are also joining us as a host is Jessica. Jessica, do you want to take a moment to introduce yourself?
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Jessica Buck. I'm the Vice President of Consumer and Business Lending here at the Credit Union, and really excited to be taking part of this webinar today.
Right. So for our, as we'll be walking through some typical steps when navigating the auto buying process. So one is researching your options, financing your new vehicle, including planning out your budget and how to calculate an estimated monthly payment, and finally, that loan application process. So purchasing a new vehicle can be exciting, but also very stressful at times. Whether you're looking to upgrade your current vehicle or purchasing a new one for the first time, we're going to discuss a few helpful tips that can make the car buying process go smoother and get you in a new car, or at least a new to you car. So just out of curiosity, I'm going to put in a chat, but we'd love to hear from you. Are you purchasing a car for the first time, or are you looking to upgrade into a different vehicle? So if you want to throw in your answer to the chat, we'd love to hear from you. So while you're doing that, let's go ahead and continue. So with so many cars on the market and more being constantly released, there are so many options to consider. There are endless makes and models and so many features to consider, it can definitely get overwhelming. When you're thinking about purchasing a car, what do you typically do first? Research. Most of us typically go to Google or whichever search engine we prefer to use to find a starting point. When car shopping, it's always a good idea to do some preliminary research so you have a clear idea of what you're looking for before you actually go to the dealerships. When researching cars, be sure to make note of what is the most important to you. Some things to consider when researching your car vehicle is safety and reliability. What are the safety ratings? Have there been any recalls or other issues that have come up for this particular car? We will put a link in the chat here to you where you can go to check on any particular recalls through the government. So you'll have that information to make some decisions about that safety and reliability. Also, maintenance cost is a good guess. Maybe you're interested in a hybrid or an electric vehicle. If you're considering an electric vehicle, what costs might you incur for charging it? How convenient is it to find a place to service the car when you need that? Genisys, one other important piece of this is I want to make sure you're aware that Genisys does offer vehicle loans for electric vehicles, and they also do provide the ability to finance some of that in the cost of those electric charging in their loan process. So that's something that you can talk with them if that's something that you're looking at. Also, make sure you're thinking about your lifestyle. Do you work from home or are you commuting? What is your family size? Don't forget about potential resale value, especially if you're somebody who does like to trade in your vehicles and trade to different models. And of course, price and how much can you afford? It's also essential to determine the cost of insurance to determine that overall affordability. After doing your initial research and finding a car you're interested in, you may be wondering if you should buy new or used. Well, there's no correct answer. There are benefits and considerations for each that we're going to discuss with you to help you make an informed choice. Let's start with buying a brand new car. When buying new, you can choose the exact make, model, and features that you want. You also don't have to worry if a previous owner maintained that vehicle properly, and if the vehicle will have little to no mileage. With new cars, you will also typically receive a warranty that may cover repairs that you're going to potentially have going forward. Also, some alternative things to consider when purchasing a new car are they may be more expensive than buying used. Cars typically depreciate rather quickly due to their use, typically losing value significantly within the first year of ownership and continuing to steadily depreciate over time. Also, car insurance rates for new cars can get quite expensive. It's important to know what coverage is required for your vehicle and that you're planning for that in your budget. When considering a used vehicle, they may be less expensive to purchase due to age and mileage. Used vehicles may also already incur that initial depreciation drop from the first year of ownership and continue to depreciate at a slower rate. Used vehicles can also have less rigid insurance requirements, allowing for cheaper premiums. Used cars can be purchased through private owners or certified pre-owned dealerships, allowing you more options in your potential price range. However, there are also things to keep in mind before deciding to purchase used. Keep in mind that buying a used car may require more maintenance than you might actually see with a new car. Used vehicles will already have some mileage, and cars with lower mileage may be more expensive than those with higher mileage. Also, the manufacturer's warranty may have ended depending on the age of the used car. There may be options to buy an extended warranty, but that would be an additional cost. With no warranty, you may have more out-of-pocket maintenance costs. Jessica, do you want to talk with them about financing?
Absolutely. All right, so you've done your research and you've narrowed your options down to that specific car. This car fits all your needs and checks all your boxes. Now, you may have questions such as, how am I going to purchase this? Or can I afford this? Next, we'll talk about adjusting your budget, calculating a potential monthly payment, and obtaining financing for a new ride. The first step to determining affordability is to review your budget or create one if you've not already. Write down all of your monthly expenses and income. How much can you comfortably afford to spend on a car payment every month? You want to ensure that you can make that monthly payment without overwhelming your budget. Some other budget considerations to keep in mind when it comes to car buying are, how much of a down payment can you make? Will you be able to trade in your current vehicle? How much might that be worth? How much are you currently spending on transportation? And would you be comfortable spending more than your current transportation cost, or do you need to keep them the same or even less? Another factor to consider when determining affordability is your credit. Whether you decide to lease or apply for an auto loan, having a high credit score is very important in determining your costs. A higher credit score may give you access to lower interest rates when obtaining an auto loan and lower monthly payments. Be sure to monitor your credit regularly during the car buying process, avoid late or missed payments to creditors, and contact GreenPath with any questions regarding your credit. You can obtain a free copy of your credit report at annualcreditreport.com. While you may not be able to determine your exact payment before applying with your lender, you can get an estimate of what your payment might be approximately. This will help you determine what price range you can afford to look at vehicles within. There are a variety of factors that will impact what your payment will be, including how much you've put down as a down payment. This could either be money that you've saved up, or it could be a trade-in value of a previous vehicle that you've paid off any remaining loan balance on it. The loan term. How long will you be repaying the loan? The longer the loan term, the smaller your payment may be, but you may end up paying more in interest over the life of that loan. The interest rate you're eligible for will also impact your payment. You can estimate this by researching average auto loan rates currently based on your credit score. There are also other costs that you may take on when purchasing a vehicle that may be wrapped into your monthly payment as well, which we'll talk about later. There are auto loan payment calculators that you can use to get a rough estimate of what your payment might be based on those factors. This is also a great way to play around with the numbers to determine how much you can afford to spend in order to keep your payment a certain amount, or how much of an impact you might be able to have by waiting a little bit longer and saving up a bigger down payment. You can use this QR code to pull up an auto loan calculator to look at later. Okay, so let's walk through an example of this in action. Meet Blake. Blake is in the market to upgrade their vehicle. Blake recently got a promotion at work and is making more income than before. Blake wants to purchase a new vehicle, but first wants to have an idea of what to expect each month because they want to stick to a budget. Blake does some research and comes across an auto loan calculator to estimate the monthly payment based on a variety of factors and find out what can be affordable. Blake is looking at a vehicle that costs $25,000 and currently has a monthly income of $3,250. Blake does some research and sees that current interest rates for cars are about 5.99% and would like to have that car paid off within 4 years. Blake is looking to spend no more than 10% of their monthly gross income on their monthly car payment and wants to calculate the affordability of their $25,000 dream car. Blake has saved $1,000 so far for a down payment. Blake plugs this information into the auto loan calculator to estimate what that monthly payment would be for this car. Here's what it looked like when Blake plugged this information into an auto loan calculator. Based on a purchase price of $25,000, a $1,000 down payment, a 48-month term, and a 5.99% interest rate, Blake's payments would be around $564 per month. But wait, $564 is 17% of Blake's monthly income, making it unaffordable based on that monthly payment they were looking for. Blake will either need to make a larger down payment or look for a less expensive vehicle to get the monthly payment within 10% of their gross income, which would be about $325 per month or less. By using an auto loan calculator, you will be able to estimate your monthly payment, determine if you need to adjust your budget, save up for a larger down payment, or consider a less expensive vehicle, and get you closer to driving your dream car. Another option to obtaining a brand new car is to lease it. A car lease will allow you to drive a new car for a certain period of time, such as 2 to 4 years or more, with a fixed monthly payment. Think of a car lease like a long-term rental. Your payments won't go toward owning the car. There are several things to consider before taking out a lease. Number one, your monthly payments may be lower than buying, but the payments are going towards depreciation of the vehicle during that lease term, plus rental charges. Number two, it is more complicated to terminate a lease than selling or trading in a purchased vehicle. You may pay fees to get out of the lease or have to pay the remainder of the lease agreement in full. Number three, you can choose to purchase the vehicle at the end of the lease. In the lease agreement, this is known as the residual. Number four, most leases restrict the number of miles you can drive based on the term of the lease. If you exceed that amount, you will be charged per mile fees when the lease ends. If you know you will drive more miles than quoted, consider purchasing them upfront for the lease. It will be much cheaper. However, if you don't end up using those miles, you won't get a refund. Number five, you are still responsible for maintaining the vehicle. When you turn it in, the leasing company will determine the cost of excessive wear and tear and bill you for it. A lease may be a good idea if you want to keep up with newer vehicles, but consider your lifestyle and how much you drive. You don't want to get stuck with hefty fees at the end of your. Sorry, losing my voice a little bit. Go ahead, Dawn.
Now that we've estimated your monthly auto loan or lease payment, you'll have a better idea of what to budget for. But don't forget, there's some additional costs to consider when determining affordability. Most lenders require auto insurance before you leave the lot with your new car. Be sure to do your research and compare rates across insurance companies. Also, keep in mind that brand new cars may have more coverage requirements than used. Maintenance and fuel costs are also additional expenses for car ownership to keep in mind. Oil changes, tire rotations are all regular maintenance to be done after a certain mileage, typically somewhere between 5,000 miles. Fuel costs are always fluctuating, so it's a good idea to estimate high for these expenses. Because fuel and maintenance costs are dependent on mileage, consider how much you currently drive or intend to drive when calculating these additional costs. It's also important to save for repairs and other unplanned expenses that may come up over time. Lastly, consider your registration fees when you first purchase your vehicle and annual tab renewal costs. There are a few additional products that dealerships or financial institutions might offer you during the purchase negotiations or during the financing process. The first is an extended warranty. What you're paying for is peace of mind that you won't have a large financial obligation if your vehicle needs to be repaired. In addition to the dealership offering an extended warranty, there are other companies that offer them as well. It's extremely important to understand the fine print on what is covered and if you have a deductible to pay up front. Also, can you choose where to have the repairs done? Warranties can be expensive, and there is a possibility that you'll never use it. According to Consumer Affairs, 37% of vehicle owners have coverage, but only 1 in 10 ever use it. Carefully weigh the added cost of an extended warranty and how much it will impact your monthly payment. If you don't pay cash for that warranty, it'll become part of the loan and you will be paying interest on it. Something to consider is setting money aside each month into a car repair savings account to cover the cost of an unexpected repair instead of making payments to a warranty that you may never use. Another possible add-on to a car purchase is gap insurance, which stands for Guaranteed Asset Protection. Gap is intended to cover the difference between the amount you owe on your auto loan and the amount the insurance company pays if your car is stolen or totaled. The cost of gap insurance can vary, and if you're interested in this, you should compare prices to other places that offer the coverage besides what the dealership will offer. Again, you'll want to determine how much the coverage will impact your monthly payments. Also confirm if the coverage can be canceled and under what circumstances, and how they determine the amount you would be refunded for the unused portion. This is important if you tend to change vehicles often, as you may not have paid off the loan or the cost of the gap. An additional add-on you might be offered on a vehicle is credit insurance. Credit insurance is optional and is designed to make payments to your lender, and there are 4 main types. One is credit life, which pays off all or some of the loan if you die. Credit disability makes payments on the loan if you become ill or injured and can't work. Be sure to understand if there is a waiting period and what information they require to determine eligibility. Involuntary unemployment insurance will make your loan payments if you lose your job due to no fault of your own, such as a layoff. And then credit property insurance covers your vehicle if it's stolen or destroyed in an accident or natural disaster. Now, this type of policy generally pays you the value of the vehicle or the balance on the loan, whichever is less. You should always confirm if your auto insurance already covers everything that credit protection will. In some cases, you may owe more than your car is worth when you go to trade it in. This is known as negative equity or being underwater or upside down. For example, you may owe $10,000 on your current car loan, but perhaps the vehicle is only worth $7,500. This means you have $2,500 in negative equity, which needs to be dealt with in order to pay off the loan. If you're unable to pay this amount outright, you may be offered the opportunity to roll the negative equity into your new vehicle loan. It is important to exercise caution before doing this. However, as you may end up in the same boat from day one, you would owe the lender more than your car is worth. This will typically lead to a higher payment especially if the new vehicle is more expensive to start with, which can be a concern if your financial situation changes. Rolling negative equity into your new auto loan can also lead to complications if you get into an accident, as your insurance will typically only cover the value of the vehicle, potentially leaving you with an outstanding balance you'd still owe the lender even if your car is totaled out. If you're underwater on your auto loan and have options to wait and a while before you're purchasing a different vehicle, consider prioritizing paying off the negative equity first. Make extra payments if you can, or look into selling your vehicle outright at a higher price than what a dealership may give you for a trade-in. Jessica, do you want to talk with them about applying for a loan?
Yes, and hopefully my voice will hang in there. All right, so you've done your research and found your next car and made some budget adjustments, and now you're ready to apply for a loan. Let's talk about the loan application process and get you closer to driving away. When applying for a car loan, you have a couple of options. You can obtain financing through your bank or credit union, like Genisys, or apply for a car loan with the dealership that you're purchasing the car from. With direct financing, you can apply with the financial institution of your choice and come to the dealership with financing already arranged. Direct financing can be beneficial because you've already established a relationship with that financial institution. You may get better rates and flexible payments with your financial institution as well. If you apply for financing at the dealership, they find a third-party financial institution that will provide the loan. Once financing is established, you will begin making payments to that financing company. If you want to complete the entire transaction at the dealer, you can find a list of Michigan dealerships that have on-the-spot financing through Genisys Credit Union by using this QR code. Next, you will want to have your documents ready to make the loan application process smoother. Gather identifying documents such as your driver's license documentation, pay stubs, or tax forms if you're self-employed, car insurance information such as the policy document, and the information needed to run a credit check such as your social security number. You can apply to multiple lenders to compare rates and shop around for the best rate that fits your budget needs. While loan shopping, a credit check may be run for each lender. While multiple hard credit checks and inquiries typically do have a negative impact on your credit, you do have a 14 to 45-day window to shop for a loan. According to the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, when you apply for a loan and the lender checks your credit, a credit score is created for the lender. Depending on the credit scoring model used, generally any credit inquiries that took place within a 14 to 45-day time span will only count as one inquiry. This means that if you are shopping and comparing between multiple loans during this period, your credit score shouldn't be affected negatively by multiple inquiries. So you have found a vehicle and you're ready to move forward, but based on your research, you think the dealership could perhaps come down on the price some more. At this stage, you can negotiate the price before moving forward to finalize the loan. Try to negotiate with the dealer and agree on a price you feel is fair and affordable. You're not obligated to accept any offer, but be polite and stand firm with what the price is that you've determined from your research and your budget. You can let the dealer know that you're shopping around with other dealers or sellers. Once you've negotiated a price that you and the dealer find fair, it's time to move forward. The loan has been written and it's ready for signing. Be sure to review all the terms of your loan thoroughly before signing. Be certain that you are clear on your financial obligations upon signing for the loan. Ensure that you know the interest rate, the length of the loan, and any additional fees that are being charged. And make sure that you are clear about where, when, and how to make your payment. Ask any questions that you have to ensure clarity before signing. You've signed the loan and have driven away with your new car. How exciting! Typically, after that first month, or whenever outlined in your loan agreement, it's time for that first payment to be made. Make sure that you send your payments to the correct place by the due date. Some financial institutions allow you to make payments online or set up auto pay for convenience. Utilize whichever payment method is easiest for you. It's very important to make your payments on time each month. Some places may offer a grace period, which is the window after your due date when you can make a payment without additional late fees. Be sure to review your loan terms for this information. While life does happen, still aim to make your payments on time to avoid any additional fees and negative impacts to your credit report or potential repossession. If you fear that you may be late on a payment or you're unable to make a payment for a month, be sure to contact the financial institution immediately to explore your options. Keep the communication open between you and your financial institution. They can't help if they don't know what's going on. Once you've reached the end of your loan term, you're ready to make your final payment. Once you send in your final payment, you are the sole owner of the vehicle. Congratulations. Some financial institutions may keep the title until the end of the loan, so be sure to obtain it after making your final payment. Others will place a lien on the title and you will keep it. They will put the lien on the title so that you can't sell it without informing them and paying off the loan. If you have the title, obtain a letter stating the lien has been removed. And I'm going to hand it back over to Dawn.
All right. So as we wrap up discussing the auto buying process, I hope you learned some valuable information that gives you more confidence in navigating the auto buying experience. Some key takeaways that I hope you walk away with are: one, do your research. Know what you're looking for and what features and factors are most important to you and compatible with your lifestyle when shopping for a car. Two, feel secure with your budget. Understand what you can afford and how to calculate your monthly payment ahead of time so you can make budget adjustments before purchasing the vehicle. Feel confident in your financing options. Know what options are available to you, such as leasing or buying, shopping around for lenders, and knowing all the costs to consider when buying the car. And finally, know your rights. Review your loan terms and negotiate as you see fit. Understand all of your financial obligations when purchasing that new vehicle. I hope we've empowered you now to purchase the new to you set of wheels. You don't have to navigate this car buying process alone. You can contact GreenPath Financial Wellness at 877-274-7580 and learn more at greenpath.com/Genisys for help with reviewing credit, making a budget, or other financial needs. You can also contact Genisys at 800-521-8440 or check out their website at genisyscu.org to learn more about auto loans. So we're going to stay on the line. If you have questions, we want to make sure that we can get those questions answered. So if you do, please put them in the chat, and then we will be able to let everybody know the answers. It looks like let's go through. I have a couple that looks like they're populating in. So one of them was, how do you determine if you're getting a good deal on a car? Jessica, do you want to take that or?
Oh, sorry, I didn't see the question.
Yep, it's how do you determine if you're getting a good deal on a car?
There's a variety of different websites out there where you can assess the value of a vehicle. So you can use a Carfax if you have the VIN number to that auto, and you can look it up that way to see what type of maintenance has been done, if it's been in any accident, and it will also show an estimated value. You can also go to jdpower.com and look up an average or clean retail value on a vehicle that you're interested in looking at too. So there's different ways to look at it without paying for a full appraisal from an appraiser.
So another question, what advice would you give someone buying their first car? Personally, I think that it's really, don't get too caught up in the process. I mean, we're all excited to buy our first car. I can remember today when I bought my first one, and it's really stepping back and being, conscious of the excitement, but at the same time, not overcommitting to things that you can't do or trying to get something that you think is a good deal just because it's there and the first thing that you've looked at. I mean, really spend that time doing that research. Jessica, do you want to add anything?
I agree with you 100%. Just making sure that you don't overwhelm your budget with that first car payment that you're taking on. At the end of the day, a car is a car. It's just getting you from point A to point B. Yes, it's great to have all the fancy, shiny things on a car, but um, it's important to stay within your budget so that you don't put yourself into a difficult spot later on if you have car repairs or maintenance to do on that car.
Yeah, and again, it's not appreciating. So it's not like it's an asset in the fact that you're going to get more value out of it later in most cases. And then, Jessica, can you choose your own due date with an auto loan at Genisys?
Yes, absolutely. Typically, we put that first payment due date out there about 30 to 45 days from the day of the loan closing. But, that doesn't always work for certain individuals, depending on when they get paid from their employer. So we can be very flexible with someone that maybe wants their due date on the 15th of the month, or maybe they want it on the 27th of the month. So it's very flexible.
That's amazing because that definitely helps when it comes to budgeting.
Yes, absolutely.
All right. And then there's another question. How do you factor in the cost of ownership, like insurance, maintenance, and fuel when buying a car? And it's definitely a little hard to do that. I mean, insurance is probably the easiest of those factors because you can get the VIN number for any cars that you're considering and call your auto insurance carrier, and they will be able to quote you what the cost for that insurance would be based on the coverage that you need or looking for. So that one's definitely the easiest. Maintenance and fuel. I mean, we all know that we're going to have to do those oil changes, tire rotations, fuel filter, different things. So, when you're factoring in, you make sure that your budget is accommodating for that. Um, crunch the numbers on how many miles a year you drive based on what you've historically done, and then take the average cost per gallon for the fuel and calculate that out and then divide that out by 12 once you have the annual number. And again, have that part of that cost of budgeting. Jessica, you want to add anything for that?
No, I think you covered that perfectly. I always think it's a good idea to save some money every month just to set it aside in case you do have those maintenance issues with your vehicle, because you don't want to rely on just putting it on a credit card because then you just added another payment, for yourself.
Yeah, it's not an if, it's definitely a when. We all have had it, I'm sure. So, all right. And there's a question here too. How long does it take to apply and get approved for an auto loan with Genisys if you're an existing member?
Yeah, typically within the day, you'll hear back on your application. It really depends on if there's questions, if they need some documents from you. But typically, someone will reach out to you that same day, absolutely, and many times you'll have an answer that same day too.
Now, can they apply for a loan with Genisys without a specific car yet in mind, like so they know what they're approved for before they go shopping?
Oh yeah, absolutely. We have members that do that all the time. They get pre-approved. Um, Sometimes they know the dollar amount that they want to be approved for, or they may work with one of our member service representatives to determine what they want that monthly payment to be. And then once they find a vehicle, they get the purchase agreement and they send it over so that they can input all the information in the system and get the loan check created and get them on their way to getting their new car.
Wonderful. Well, if there's any other questions, by all means, please pop them in the chat. And again, exciting times if you're in the market to purchase a new vehicle. Hopefully, This gives you a little bit more confidence in doing that and making sure that you're checking all the boxes and ready to take on that new expense. Well, I'm not seeing any additional questions. Well, as I said earlier, we will definitely be sending out an email to get a link to the recording, as well as a couple documents that we're going to send. And if you do need anything else, by all means, feel free to reach out to Genisys, or if you do have questions about um, your budget and all that, GreenPath would be happy to help for that as well. So everybody have a wonderful day. Thank you.
Thank you, Dawn.